What's up, YouTube and wrestling fans? My name is Big Boy Snatch on TV, aka Wakanda Snatch One, because I got plenty going around. This is my AEW Dynamite review and highlights. Make sure you guys please go watch the video and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content I do on the channel, where I give you guys the full breakdown of my review, not the half my review. Follow my social media down below in the description, and go check out my WWE NXT review and highlights that I posted on the channel yesterday. Without further ado, let's get started. Now, AEW Dynamite for the first hour was a good show for what it was. Alright. It says AEW was live from Theaters of the Clouds at Muda Center in Portland, Oregon. It says, I sure hope you like your blockbuster because it's time for AEW Summer Blockbuster. We start with a cold opening as Tony Storm enters the building being driven around by Luther and elsewhere. Christopher Daniels warns Hangman Page about trying to go up against the Death Riders. With that, we get a special summer blockbuster take on the Dynamite and to the kick off the show. Alright, so we get AEW Summer Blockbuster Part 1, Dynamite. We head to ringside as Will Ospreay heads down to the ramp to a big pop for our opening contest. Out next is Swerve Strickland, who also gets a big pop. And after Swerve Strickland enters the ring, this match gets underway. Alright, so we get the first match. So we get Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland. This was the match of the night right here. This match was fantastic. After the pair soaked the pair soaked in the praise from the crowd, Swerve Strickland extends a hand to Will Ospreay, which Will Ospreay accepts, shaking it in a show of sportsmanship. This leads to a bit of wrist control as they look to see who can get the upper hand. Exchange of offense leads to a leapfrog from Will Ospreay, but Swerve Strickland catches him by surprise before they both get to their feet. They hit head scissors on each other, taking each other man down to the mat, only for both to rise back up quickly. This ends with a standoff as the crowd chants, "Whose house? Swerve's house?" throughout. The pair lock up with Will Ospreay sending Swerve Strickland to the ropes before the referee intervenes. A nosebleed from Will Ospreay seems to get aggravated after a palm strike by Swerve Strickland, who sends the real assassin to the ropes before Will Ospreay reaches. Before Will Ospreay catches him with a Sky Twister press, but that's not enough for even a one count. Swerve Strickland gets sent to the corner where Will Ospreay lays in some strikes before pulling him away for a chop. Swerve Strickland looks barely phased as he stares Will Ospreay down. Swerve Strickland lays in some strikes of his own, leading to a drop kick that sends Will Ospreay to the mat. Will Ospreay gets to the ropes and pulls the top one down, forcing Swerve Strickland to get to the outside. But Swerve Strickland takes control with a set of kicks before bringing Will Ospreay back in the ring, sending him down hard for a 2 count before Will Ospreay kicks out. Will Ospreay finds himself in a corner as Swerve Strickland goes back to work, landing a backbreaker of shorts on the aerial assassin to keep him down for another 2 count. He grabs the arm of Will Ospreay. He clutches his face, but Will Ospreay fights to his feet before Swerve Strickland blocks an arm drag to take him back to the canvas. Will Ospreay gets to his feet once more, finding out for some chops, but Swerve Strickland catches him with an elbow. With the elbow, Will Ospreay fights back with a forearm to the throat, opening up for a corkscrew kick that faces Swerve Strickland in the corner. Elbow strike is followed with a springboard elbow by Will Ospreay, but Swerve Strickland rolls to the outside for a breather before Will Ospreay gets the drop on him with a Sasuke special to the approval of the crowd as we go to a full break on Max. Back from commercial break, Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland are back in the ring with Will Ospreay taking advantage, but not for long as Swerve Strickland takes him to the ropes for a kick to the face. He hangs Will Ospreay up on the ropes, setting up for a neck breaker, forcing the aerial assassin down hard to the floor. He brings Ospreay back in the ring, sending him to the mat for a near fall before targeting the arm as he bends it back until Ospreay catches him with a side headlock, forcing him on his back for a near fall. Ospreay is back up as Strickland gets to his feet and he connects with a strike to set up for a Stormbreaker. But Swerve Strickland counters. Swerve Strickland goes for a brainbuster, but Will Ospreay counters with a Stun Dog Millionaire. But he leaves an arm open that Swerve Strickland grabs for a cross arm breaker. Will Ospreay finds a way to break out of this by getting to a vertical base, hosting Swerve Strickland up and over to send him into the turnbuckles. Both men get to their feet as Swerve Strickland gets to the turnbuckles, but Will Ospreay catches him for a kick to the face. Followed by a hurricanrana. Swerve Strickland blocks a hidden blade, but takes a Spanish fly that gets Ospreay near fall. Will Ospreay lands a Ox Cutter on Swerve Strickland, but only gets a 2 count when Swerve Strickland kicks out. Will Ospreay leaves the ring as Swerve Strickland goes for a moonsault, but Will Ospreay managed to dodge it, sliding back into the ring before landing a hidden blade on Swerve Strickland. Both men are down on the outside, with Swerve Strickland slowly rising up as we go to a full commercial break. We're back from commercial break. Both men are back in the ring as they trade strikes. Will Ospreay lands a couple hard kicks that force Swerve Strickland to the knee. But Swerve Strickland managed to dodge a hidden blade, forcing Will Ospreay to collide with the ring post. Instead, he brings Will Ospreay up the turnbuckles before sending him down to the mat. He goes for a cross arm breaker once more, as Ospreay struggles to break free, but now Swerve Strickland has a triangle choke locked in. Elbow strike from Swerve Strickland don't keep Ospreay from getting to his feet, only for Swerve Strickland to escape a Styles Class attempt to hit a dead eye covered by Swerve Strickland, but it's only good for a 2 count. Swerve Strickland goes up top for a swerve stomp, but Will Ospreay rolls away before landing a hidden blade. But Swerve Strickland managed to kick out at 2. The two men slowly build to a vertical base, staring each other down before trading strikes as commentary notes we're slowly approaching the 30-minute time limit. Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland make it to their feet as they count to exchange before Swerve Strickland takes Will Ospreay down with an arm wringer in a house call. Swerve Strickland goes back up top and hits a swerve stomp for the cover, but it's only a 2 count. Once again, Swerve Strickland goes after the arm, nearly snapping it with a kick before heading to the corner, only to run into a hidden blade. Will Ospreay with a Stormbreaker and the cover, but Swerve Strickland nearly gets a shoulder up to save the match for himself. Swerve Strickland Will Ospreay struggles to his feet as he brings up Swerve Strickland with a double underhook, debating what move he should make. But Swerve Strickland escapes before a decision can be made, catching Will Ospreay with a verted breaker instead. Swerve Strickland gets in the corner for a house call, leaving Will Ospreay just under the bottom rope as commentary says he says we're down to the final minute. Swerve Strickland heads towards the corner as Will Ospreay struggles to move. Swerve Strickland gets to the top, but stumbles as he looks for a swerve stomp, and the bell rings. That's time as Justin Marks confirms the match is a draw to a chorus of boos from the crowd. So we get Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland in a time limit draw. These two went at it. This was good. Not looking quite pleased as a result, Swerve Strickland grabs a microphone to talk about these two being two of the best in the place. We're the best wrestlers. The way to prove you're the best is to finish the match. He knows they're both broken down, but one sudden death. But instead of sudden death, we get the arrival of the Death Riders. The group makes their way through the crowd towards the ring, where they look upon Ospreay laying on the floor before surrounding the ring itself. Just as the Young Bucks rush into the ring to blindside Swerve Strickland, EVP Trigger knocks him out, and then they lay out Prince Nana before pulling handcuffs on Swerve Strickland to attach him to the corner for a series of super kicks. They pull out shoes with thumbtacks on the sole to continue their beatdown, but Ospreay slips into take the Provo bullet instead. Young Bucks leave the ring as the doc checks on Ospreay while commentary talks about what went down. That was a good that was a good match between Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland, but the time limit was just terrible. But I'm glad that Will Ospreay took the bullet for Swerve Strickland. W Will Ospreay. That's all I gotta say. It says a it says it says A of an opening match contest, slightly named by the time limit draw finish. I don't hate these when they progress a story. In some sense, this did the trick as well. They post match stuff is kind of crazy, but again, puts that story of Ross Ray seeking assistance from Swerve Strickland. They also talk about the contract signing for the winner takes all match at all in Texas before heading backstage to hear from Kazuchika Okada on his thoughts about the match before Don Callis interrupts, asking why it's Okada in the match and not Kyle Fletcher. This rallies up Okada, who nearly attacks Don Callis as the family steps in, but Okada just mocks him before walking off. Later tonight, we see the female Mystico in action. So we go to commercial break. Backstage, there is commotion, and we quickly that find out this is earlier today, as we see Commander being laid out by the Hurt Syndicate. Mascara Dorada will take his spot in the trios match later tonight. But we head back to ringside where Melisco gets a big pop for our next match against Blake Christian. The bell rings, we are underway. So we get Melisco versus Blake Christian. This was a pretty good match in my opinion. Mystico gets the early advantage until Christian takes the luchador down to the mat. He brings Mystico towards the ropes where he drives a boot into the throat until the referee intervenes. This gives Mystico a chance to fight back with a takedown on the Ring of Honor mainstay. Mystico heads to the ropes as um, Blake Christian Blake Christian tries to take him down again, but this time he takes a hurricane off of shorts that forces Blake Christian to the outside. Blisco with a big dive through the ropes before bringing Blake Christian back into the ring for a kick, followed by a springboard cross body. This gets a luchador a near fall. Ballistico gets the crowd going before heading up the ramp, heading up the top, heading up to the turnbuckle. But Lee Johnson gets involved, allowing Blake Christian to catch the luchador on the outside. He brings Ballistico back in the ring and he goes for a 450 splash, but the cover can only result a 2 count. Blake Christian re- returns to the corner, but is intercepted by Mystico, who hits a Spanish fly, sending Blake Christian down to the mat for the victory. The winner by pinfall, Mystico. This was a pretty good match. The celebration is cut short by the arrival of the Hurt Syndicate. The crowd chanting, "We heard people," as MVP speaks up for an official announcement from the Hurt Syndicate. Especially, we see a message from MJF for Mystico. The crowd not running in of it as they boo louder and louder while MJF talks about being the best pro wrestler in the world today. MJF offers a match to Musty next week at Grand Slam Mexico, but he's not getting any. He's not getting just anyone. He's getting the return of the pirate patriot as MJF dusts off the red, white, and blue. God bless America and God bless your American hero MJF. This provoke this partic music hits as well as we get red, white, and blue streamer stream steam streamers and the MJF USA flag drops down at ringside. MJF gets in the ring where Melissa will laughs at him before accepting the match. He says something in Spanish that MJF um confers confers with MVP on the translation. Rally MJF up as he says Melissa to him is just happy. It's just sloppy Sin Cara. He goes for a punch, but Melisco blocks only for the Earth Syndicate to blindside the Luchador, but before they can do much else, Speedball and his amazing friends come through the crowd to for the save. Decent enough showcase for Mystico, though clearly just a siege siege to the segment. With MJF, we have the match confirmed the Grand Slam Mexico next week. Yeah, I said the match was pretty good in my opinion. All right. The Hurt Syndicate clears from the ring as Bailey, Kevin Knight, and Mascara Dorada asks the team to return for the match. The bell rings as chaos ensures before our Outnest match officially gets underway. So we get a trios match. The Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, MJF versus Speedball, Mike Bailey, Mascara Dorada, and Kevin Knight. And this 6-man tag team match, um this was a this was a fun tag team match. MJF and Dorado start things off in the ring with MJF mocking the luchador with some strikes. Mascara fights back and MJF gets him in the eye, mocking the crowd before taking a taking a poke to the eye by Dorado for revenge. He dumps MJF down to the mat before tagging and Kevin Knight, who in turn tags and Bailey for a double team in the near fall. Dorada gets back in as MJF tries to bag him off, only to force him to the syndicate corner, where Bobby Lashley brings the luchador crashing to the floor with a big toss as we go to a full commercial break. So we're back from commercial break. MGF has Dorada back in the ring for a nod to MVP, but the Luchador fights back out, managing to get a tag to Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight takes MJF down with a kick and a stand-in fall splash for a 2 count. Speedball tags himself in as MJF rolls away for a tag in Bobby Lashley. Uh, tag tag to um tag to Bobby Lashley and they tag the tag champ standing off with Kevin Knight and Bailey, leading to a German suplex by Sean Benjamin on Speedball before they get sent into a big drop by Bobby Lashley. MGF looks for a tag and MVP says Bobby Lashley should tag him as MJF catches Speedball with a pump handle driver for a 2 count before Bailey kicks out. MJF mocks the crowd before Bailey catches him by surprise forcing forcing him to roll away as Bobby Lashley comes running in. Not right into a fury of kicks at Speedball, who launches Kevin Knight at the Almighty. Jet Speed take control of the situation, forcing Bobby Lashley and Sean Benjamin to take outside for Dials. followed by a middle rope shooting star press pinned by Dorado onto MJF. Speedball goes up top to take a cane short to the back by MVP, with the referee distracted, allowing MVP to hit a hammerlock DDT for the win. The winner by pinfall, the Hurt Syndicate. And this 6-man tag team match, this was a Von Trio tag team match. Alright, it says the trio continued to beat down, going after Kevin Knight and Dorada, as well as MJF. Looks to pull the latter's mask off. Dorada tries to fight him off, but the no ball, as the luchador has to hide his face while MJF shoves the match. The crowd to a crowd booing him. He tosses the mask to the outside, but gets blindside with the head scissors takedown by Malistico. He helps Dorado out of the ring. Before talking smack with the Hurt Syndicate from outside, reminding MJF that he will see him next week in Mexico as we go to commercial break. That trios match though, a lot of fun. The high flying from Bailey / Kevin Knight Dorada paired with the Hurt Syndicate. Power made for a good clash, and MJF picks up the pinfall on Dorado ahead of his match against Mexico next week. Post match was good as well. Lot of heat for MJF pulling. Alright, let's move on. So we go to commercial break. We head to ringside as the music of Hangman Page plays, but we see the Death Riders attacking a bound Page in the entrance tunnel. Instead, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Cascanoli bring him to the ring as Maria Sheffield follows with the briefcase, presumably holding the AEW World Championship. John Moxley enters the ring as into the ring now as well, a microphone in his hand as he apologized to Page for all of this. He wanted to have a real conversation and know how distracted Heyman Page can get. We need we need you focused. We need you focused because this is your time. All in for a AEW World Championship for you this time. For you, this is do or die. The crowd lets John Moxley know how they feel as John Moxley says he's been watching Heyman Adam Page for a long time, and he is complicated, complicated man. For a long time, Hangman Page has been searching for something. John Moxley doesn't know what that is, but Hangman Page has 4 weeks to find out, to step up and become the man that people want him to be. If he's not prepared to step up, he can pack his you know what up and get the you know what out. Hangman Page responds as the best he can with the headbutt on the champ, heading to the Death Riders, taking him down. Once again, the outs come running out of the save, forcing the Death Riders to retreat through the crowd as Hangman Page is able to break free for his um bindings. Alright. He takes the microphone saying he works too hard to lose at all in Texas. And if he finds ever one of the Death Riders tonight, he will take their head. He'll grab a chair and make his way through the crowd. A man on a hunt. We get a graphic reminding us of the contract signing later tonight for Okada, Kenny Omega at All In Texas. With that said, we go to commercial break. The segment with the Death Riders and Hangman Page was interesting, though it feels like the bill is only just starting for such a big title match at All In Texas. At least we still have about a month to go. All right, so we go to commercial break. We head back to ringside. Megan Bay and Penelope Ford makes their way down for our next match. This is followed by the arrival of Tay 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 Conti and AJ to a nice pop before the bell rings. This match gets on the way. So we get Tay Mello. So we get Tay Mello and NJ versus Megan Bay and Penelope Ford. And this match right here, this match was okay for what it was. We start off with Penelope Ford and Tay Mello before Megan Bay tag in. NJ starts to get involved but gets shoved away before tagging in just before Tay Mello gets sent out of the ring by a Megas that I'm sorry, tag made to Ford as the pair double team NJ leading to a handspring elbow in the corner by Penelope. But NJ managed to fight back, dropping Penelope Ford in the canvas with a drop kick. Tag made to Tay Mello as they trade off corner elbow. Strike to isolate Penelope Ford. Megan Bay rushing to take out Tay Mello after a tag was made. She assisted Penelope Ford in dropping NJ to the mat, and we go to a full commercial break. All right, so it says we're back from commercial break. We're back from commercial break. Back in the ring, Tay Miller is tagged in to take Penelope Ford to the mat for a near fall before Megan Bain breaks it up, dragging Penelope Ford to the corner for a tag. Mello lays in some strikes before Megan Bain sends her to the corner. Tay Miller dodges an attack to land 3 running strikes on Megasis before escaping fate distant that catch Megan Bain in a calf slicer. Megan Bain struggles as she crawls towards the rope, instead grabbing Tay Miller's head, pulling her to the mat to force the break for a commercial break. Tag by NJ and Tay Miller sends Megan Bain to the outside for a center off the apron. And TJ and but NJ follows up with a diving crossbody before before catches them both with a dive off the ropes. She brings NJ back in the ring, but NJ gets a tag to Tay Mello as Penelope Ford demands a tag back into the match. NJ keeps Megan Bain from intervening as Tay Mello hits a gory special into a knee strike on Penelope Ford for the win. The winner of the match, Penelope Ford and Tay J. This would say, I'm also say this would say okay match what was. The pair celebrate outside the ring as commentary talks up the contract signing for winner take all match at AEW All In Texas. Fun fun little tag match. It was nice to see Tay Miller back in action, especially those that finished look an awful like a money maker. Oh no, LOL. Video package. Look at the feud between Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega that raged on in New Japan Pro Wrestling. That was a nice video package highlighting how big this Kenny Omega Okada match is at All In Texas. A war from New Japan has finally reached a reached AEW, and the winner takes all when the had dust has settled. All right, let's move on. That was a good video package. All right, let's move on. Also, a quick update: it's been informed that knee strike for a gory special is not the moneymaker. Christ, Christ, avert, lol. So we go to commercial break. We come back to ringside for our main event of the first half of summer break as Tony Schiavone stands by with the table for our contract signing. Tony Schiavone introduced the two champions as Okada makes his entrance first, followed by Kenny Omega. Each man enters the ring before we get things underway. So we get a closing segment. So we get Kenny Omega versus Okada contract signing all in Texas. This was a good segment right here. This was a good closing segment right here. Tony Schiavone talks about what's at stake for this match, as winner takes all. With the winner of this match becoming the first ever AEW Unified Champion, he unveils the title belt before asking each man to sign the contract, to which Okada does immediately before Kenny Omega grabs the microphone. Kenny Omega says it's been 7 years since they last faced off, asking the Rainmaker to leave it all in for this final bout between them. He signs the contract before extending a hand, to which Okada accepts, but the handshake turns quickly into a stare down and a war of words between them. The moment is interrupted by the arrival of Don Callis. The crowd boos loudly as Don Callis powers through to say that this match should involve any of his family members. But Kenny Omega says everyone has heard enough. Kenny Omega says he's beaten them both, but they can get in line for a shot after this match is done. Kenny Omega says he knows all of Don Callis' tricks and nothing will ruin this match. But Don Callis says Kenny Omega didn't see this one coming, as Okada blindsides the best bout machine. Don Callis enters the ring with a baton, offering it to Okada to keep on the attack until officials and managed track until the officials and managed rush down to put a stop to it. They put Kenny Omega on a stretcher, and as the first half of summer blockbuster comes to a close. All right, a good, you know what, of a segment to close the AEW Dynamite half of hashtag AEW Summer Blockbuster. I'm honest, interrupted by this unified championship and what it means for the match itself, and the reveal of Okada working with Don Callis. It's a curious twist going into All in Texas. All right, so we get AEW Summer Blockbuster Part 2 Collision. And this AEW Summer Blockbuster Part 2, it was just it was just it was just a solid show for what it was. But AEW Dynamite was way better than AEW Summer Blockbuster Part 2. It was the show itself was just solid. Jerome tagging in for Alice. Okada and Don Callis continues the assault on Kenny Omega. The two head to the back and take off in the SUV. Tony Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness have taken over the commentary, talking about what just went down and hope to have an update on Kenny Omega before the night is over. The music of Adam Cole, his as the TNT champion, makes his way out and down the ring. Adam Cole is going to be commentary for the opening match for the collision portion of Summer Blockbuster. Fired up is the music of Kyle Fletcher as he makes his way out with Lance Archer. Kyle Fletcher, I'm sorry. makes his way out with Lance Archer. An 8-man tag has been announced for tonight. Next up is Anthony Bounce and Billy Gunn. They both make it down to the ring. All right, so we get Kyle Fletcher versus Anthony Bounce, and this was a decent match, but the ending was just predictable. The bell rings. We are underway. Cole gets a scissoring at ringside from Billy Gunn. Both Kyle Fletcher and Anthony Bounce lock up as Kyle Fletcher pushes Anthony Bounce to the corner to get a break that is clean. Both men lock up again as Anthony Bounce pushes Kyle Fletcher to the corner, this time for a clean break. Anthony Bounce applies a headlock on Kyle Fletcher as he breaks out of the hole, sending Anthony Bounce to the mat. Anthony Bounce takes a pin attempt on Kyle Fletcher, who kicks out at 2. Anthony Bounce takes down Kyle Fletcher and chops him as he gets up. Anthony Bounce sends Kyle Fletcher to the corner, and that drives him with a fallaway slam, covering Kyle Fletcher for only a 2 count. Anthony Bounce picks up Kyle Fletcher and slams him down. Anthony Bounce is up the apron as Kyle Fletcher kicks Anthony Bounce off, sending him to the floor. So we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, Kyle Fletcher hits Anthony Bounce with a knee to the midsection. Kyle Fletcher tries to pick up Anthony Bounce, but he counters with a face plant on Kyle Fletcher and then follows it up with a famouser and covers him for only a 2 count. Kyle Fletcher comes back and snap suplex Anthony Bounce, who rolls to the outside. Kyle Fletcher goes to the floor and picks up Anthony Bounce, but he counters and picks up Kyle Fletcher, dropping him face first on the apron. As the action goes back in the ring, Anthony Bounce clotheslines Kyle Fletcher and then covers him for only a 2 count. As Anthony Bounce is up on the top rope, Kyle Fletcher leaps up, but Anthony Bounce counters with a big knee and drops Kyle Fletcher with a twisting DDT from the second rope. Anthony Bounce covers Kyle Fletcher, but we only get a 2 count. Kyle Fletcher connects on Anthony Bounce with an elbow, then a boot to the jaw. Anthony Bounce fires back with a big with a big with a back fist, and then is nailed with a thirst kick by Kyle Fletcher, who picks up Anthony Bounce and plants him on the mat. Kyle Fletcher covers Anthony Bounce for only a 2 count. Kyle Fletcher then connects with a big boot on Anthony Bounce as he comes back with a twisted slam on Kyle Fletcher and covers him for only a 2 count. Kyle Fletcher rolls to the floor. Anthony Bounce comes off the off the top rope, landing on Kyle Fletcher as both men go up. Lance Archer kicks Billy Gunn and then sends him into the barricade. And then Kyle Fletcher connects with a big boot on Anthony Bounce, followed by a brain buster to get the pin. The winner of the match, the winner by pinfall, Kyle Fletcher. This was I might as well say, this was a pretty good match for what it was, but the ending was just predictable. Predictable match with Kyle Fletcher going over Anthony Bounce, who is the 5 tool jobber. Boring gimmick for Anthony Bounce continues. I agree with that. Hashtag AEW Collision. Hashtag AEW Summer Blockbuster. All right. We go to a video package hyping up MJF versus Melisco for next week in Mexico. We go to ringside with Carlos Cabrera talking about AEW Grand Slam Mexico and with AEW and CML making history. He introduced a real living legend, Atlantis and Atlantis Jr., who both head to the ring for a big ovation. FTR and Stokely then interrupt and come to the ring. Stokely says the only two living legends are FTR. Stokely tells Carlos to leave the ring. Stokely tells Atlantis he should be scared. Stokely talks about how FTR took out Rock and Roll Express and that Nacho McGuinness is nothing but a paper, but a pull proper with taking mil, Malaysian and hopes that when he wakes up, it will be 2002. Stokely then says Daniel Garcia is thinking about retire, retirement. He then he says then asks where is Adam Copeland, who is sitting at home looking at looking at the walls. Stokely says then says LTR doesn't have a match yet, but they get what they want. Dax Harwood then says Big Stow is a little upset. Dax says he is not upset, but excited about the partnership as the fans shut the you know what up. Dax then says female is the oldest promotion in professional wrestling. Dax tries to introduce Cash Wheeler. Dax Harwood asks Atlantis how FTR would have wrestled in the 30s. How would how would have then fired been what's that been fair? It says been fair. Dax Harwood asks Atlantis Jr. at 62 how many depends does he go through? Atlantis slaps Dax out. Sorry, I'm slap Dax. I'm sorry, but the numbers are too much. Adam Cole leaves the commentary table to make the save, but then Don Callis' family comes in the ring. Bandito comes out, but the numbers continues to be too much. Brody King comes out to make the save, sending all the heels packing, leaving Dax in the ring. Atlantis picks up Dax and starts punching Dax as he then rolls out of the ring. Atlantis continues the assault as Dax leaps over the barricade. Atlantis goes after him. It says, continue to dig FTR and Stokely. They know how to generate organic heel heat. Fun segment with FTR, Stokely, Atlantis, and Atlantis Jr. This was a fun segment. All right, let's move on. We go to backstage with Lexi there talking to Big Bill and Brian Keith. Big Bill says they cracked the skull of Gates of Mahogany. Big Bill then challenges any team as JD Drake and Anthony Henry comes in and accept the challenge as JD take takes Bill to takes tells Bill to relax. The music of Mercedes Monet hits as the TBS champion makes her way to the commentary table for our next match. Mercedes Monet gets to the table at ringside with a bunch of food and drinks. Alright, it says, in the venue, the light goes out as Julia Hart is out next with Blue Sky. The music of Thomas Tony Storm his next as she makes her way with Luther to Tony Chance. Blue attack Sky Blue attacks Tony Storm from behind, who was paying attention to Mercedes Monet as she and Julia Hart double team her. Referee R.B. Everett sends Sky Blue to the back as R.B. Luther are in the medical staff check on Tony Storm. Mercedes Monet mocks Tony Storm as an official try try to help her up, but Tony Storm is still down. Luther tries to hype up the fans. Tony Storm is up on her feet as Doc Samson help to the ring. Tony Storm tells the ref to ring the bell. Alright. So we get the non-title Mercedes Monet on commentary. Thomas Tony Storm versus Julia Hart. And this was a squash match. Tony Storm has taken down by Julia Hart, who is stomping on her. Julia Hart goes to the top to come down with a huge moonsault on Tony Storm and covers her. But the champ kicks out at 2. Tony Storm battles back with a big chop with a big drop kick on Julia Hart, sending her to the floor and looking into the camera and tell us AEW will be right back. So we go to the full commercial break. We're back from the full break. Julia Hart and Tony Storm are back in the ring as Julia Hart has a hold of Storm's left arm. Julia Hart walks up on the top rope, but Tony Storm drops her. Tony Storm picks up Julia Hart and drops her with a German suplex. Tony Storm tells her to Tony Storm then hits Julia Hart with a fireman suplex and covers her for only a 2 count. Tony Storm grabs Julia Hart, but she reverses it and looks up Tony Storm as the referee checks on the champ. Julia Hart then nails Tony Storm, who comes back and picks up Julia Hart, planting her back first on the mat. Tony Storm covers Julia Hart, but she won't stay down. Julia Hart takes down Tony Storm, and then climbs to the top and comes off the top with a moonsault. But Tony Storm moves out of the way and rolls up Julia Hart with a small package to get the win. All right, the winner by pinfall, AEW Women's World Champion Thomas Tony Storm. This was a squash match. After the match, Tony Storm celebrated her knees. Mercedes Monet is in the ring. Mercedes Monet grabs Tony Storm, sniffs her, and then slams her down, attacking her. Mina Sakura comes to make the save. As Mercedes Monet quickly leaves, Mercedes Monet then turns around and hits the ring, attacking Mina Sakura. Mercedes Monet grabs the women's world title and tells Tony Storm to kiss it goodbye, rubbing it in her face. I like this feud between Tony Storm and Mercedes Monet, but to have Julia Hart go from TBS champ to jobber is bad booking, which is I agree with that. All right, so it says backstage with Lexi Nair talking to Ricochet, who says he is searching for the perfect individual to help him achieve goal. Blake Christian and Lee Johnson come in. Ricochet says he is looking for the right people to navigate through. Ricochet tells Blake Christian and Lee Johnson they play Ricochet weeks after week and is embarrassing. Ricochet heel character continues to be entertaining. So we go to full commercial break. All right. Reach for the sky, boy. Mark Briscoe and Tomohiro Tomohiro Ashi comes out to the ring. Next up is the music of Will Nightingale to a big ovation, and we have a mixed trios match next. Chris Statlander is showing watching backstage. Up next is Johnny TV and MXM collection as Taya Valkyrie. So we get the next match, a mixed trios match. Tomohiro Ashi, Mark Briscoe, and Will Nightingale versus MXM collection Mason. It says Mason, Madden, Mansar, and Taya Valkyrie. This mixed tag team match, this was another squash tag team match. This was god awful match. The bell rings as Mansoor tries to take down Ashi, who grabs his arm. Taylor is tagging. She slaps Ashi as the Willow Nightingale comes in and picks up Taylor and slams her down. Mark Briscoe is in as it now Madden. He clotheslines Madden, who comes back and nails Mark Briscoe with a big leg drop. Mansoor is tagged back in and hits Briscoe with the hip attack. Taya and Johnny TV make out on the apron. Willow Nightingale is tagging as she takes out Taya while the men are fighting on the floor. Willow Nightingale comes off the second rope, sending Taya to the floor with a shotgun drop kick. Willow Nightingale takes down Taya and Johnny TV on the floor. Madden is in as Ashi and Mark Briscoe chop him and then sends him to the floor with a dual shoulder tackle. Mansoor comes in and takes out Mark Briscoe. Ashi and Mark Briscoe is up is up by is up but dropped by a sunset bomb from Mansoor. Will Nightingale comes in and nails Mansoor, and as Ashi and Mark Briscoe sends Mansoor and Matter to the floor. Will Nightingale picks up Taya and plants her face first to get the 3 count. The winner by pinfall: Tomohiro Ashi, Mark Briscoe, and Will Nightingale. This was a god awful mixed trios match. This was god awful. Alright, we go backstage from last week when the cameraman asking Chris Stanley about Willow Nightingale. Chris Stanley says Willow doesn't want to talk with her. Willow Yuta comes in and tells Chris Stanley to forget about everyone and make your make her own choice. Chris Stanley walks past Marisha Fair, who doesn't look happy at Yuta. MXM Collection, AEW Collision, AEW Summer Blockbuster, Waste of a match. But the fans love Will Nightingale, Mark Briscoe, and Oscar, which I agree with that. This match was the waste of everybody's time. This was a god awful match. All right. Up next is the music of the Beast Motors, and we have a standby match. Up next is the music of Bandito as the Ring of Honor World Champion comes out with the outrunners who then head to the back. Alright, so we get standby match. The Beast Motors versus Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito non-title. And this match right here, this was a this match right here, this was a decent match right here. The bell rings the bell rings as Bandito runs at Mataros, who basically runs over him. Mataros slaps Bandito and then picks him up and tosses him across the ring. The fans chant Mataros. He kicks Bandito and then tries to toss him, but Bandito counters. Mataros headbutts Bandito, but then is sent over the top rope as Bandito flies through the ropes, leading on Mataros. Bandito grabs Mataros and sends him back in the ring. Bandito goes to the top to Bandito chance. Mataros then nails Bandito in the midsection. Mataros gauges the eyes of the Ring of Honor World Champ through the mask. Mataros picks up Bandito using the eye and holds off the mask. Motaro slams Bandito down and covers him for only a 2 count. Motaro sends Bandito to the floor. Motaro runs the ropes and leaps up, landing on Bandito. All right, so we go to commercial break. Back from the commercial break, Motaro connects with a running shotgun drop kick on Bandito. He gets his feet taking down Motaro's. Bandito runs the ropes as Motaro's catches him, but the Ring of Honor World Champ spins around and drops Motaro's on the mat. Bandito picks up Motaro's and slams him on the mat. Bandito is up on top and lands on Motaro's with a huge false splash. Bandito covers Motaro's, but the beast won't stay down. Motaros recovers and chops Bandito and drops him with a twisted tornado bomb. Motaros covers Bandito, but he kicks out. Motaros then picks up the Ring of Honor champ, dropping his dropping him dropping his with a long blower. Motaros covers Bandito, but he kicks Out at 2, Bandito gets a knee up on Motaro's. Bandito is up on the top turnbuckle, but Motaro's is up as both men are on middle rope. Both men are up in the top rope. Bandito grabs Motaro's and comes down hard on the mat, with Motaro's hitting the mat back first. Bandito covers Motaro's to get the win. Um, the winner by pinfall, Ring of Honor World Champion Bandito. This was a decent match for what it was. We go backstage with Renee Paquette talking to Mercedes Moné. Renee asks her what she whispered to Tony Storm. Mercedes Moné says she doesn't kiss to tell Renee Paquette. Renee Paquette then asked Mercedes Moné about making a challenge at Grand Slam Mexico for the women's female title. The female women's champ Zexius comes in and takes out Mercedes Moné and then says challenge accepted. So we go to commercial break. Alright. So we get it says back from the break. Renee Paquette tries to get a medical update on Ospreay. Hangman Page comes and the EVP comes in and says that they meant to go for Swerve, and we're just trying to help. Page tells the EVP to stay out of his business, and he doesn't need any help. Page says the next house he burns down will be the EVP and them in it. Prince Nada then asks Swerve Strickland if he heard what just happened. Swerve Strickland says he heard every word of it. Alright, so it says the music of the Kala hits as she makes her way to the ring. Queen Anada is out next. So we get Toxic Spider Dakala versus Queen Anita. Queen Anita. This match right here, I did not really care about this match. This was a a squash terrible match. The bell rings were underway. The Kala holds onto the ropes on the corner and then charges at the Queen, who moves out of the way. The Kala tries for a spin kick, but the Queen picks her up as the Kala escapes. Uh, Anita Anata breaks up with a smile on her face, and Amnata wants her wants her wants a test of strength. Amnata slaps the collar and connects with a serial snapmare as the collar goes to the floor. The collar is back up on the apron. The collar leaps off the apron. The collar gets back in the ring as is met with a big kick by the queen. The collar then runs and nails Amnata in the head. Alright, so we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, the collar is up on the top rope. She applies a head scissors on the queen, using the ropes for leverage. The referee calls for the break. Amnata then hits the collar with two lariats. Amnata then drops the collar with a snap DDT, turn into a suplex. Amnata there then connects with a big kick on the collar in the corner. Um, Another drags the collar in the ring and covers the collar for a close 3 count. The collar goes to pick up Amnata, but it's met with a headbutt. Amnata kicks the collar in the face and drags her to the corner and comes off the top, landing on the collar with a double boots in the midsection. Amnata covers. The collar who kicks out of a 3. The collar recovers and nails the queen, sending her to her knees as Amnata gets up. The collar spears the queen, applies the death trap, and Amnata taps out. The winner by submission, the Toxic Spider Dakata. This was a this was a terrible This was a terrible match to me. We go backstage with Legendary and Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian. Nick Wayne asks, "Where's Christian Cage and his mom are?" Kip Sabian says, "We are here to see his best from the New Japan Pro Wrestling Super Juniors, a video package display." Nick Wayne then tells Kip Sabian the video package was great. Kip Sabian then tells Nick Wayne he doesn't know where they would be without Christian Cage. All right, it says same as last week. The call of the first two to the last match, who it who of course wins, followed by another 8-man tag to come, which instantly is same as last week. Lazy booking. I agree with that. And that match itself was just terrible. All right, commercial break. Back from the break, we go to a table with a recap of Kenny Omega being attacked by Okada from behind. The update is that Kenny Omega has been taken to a hospital in the Portland arena. Don Callis' family were out first, followed by the Paragon, and Daniel Garcia. So we get the next match: the Paragon, Kyle Riley, Roger Strong, and Adam Cole, and Daniel Garcia versus the Don Callis family. Heroes Kanushka Takeshita, Josh Alexander, and Lance Archer. And this tag team match right here, this was another garbage match right here. This another 8-man tag match. This was god awful. I did not like this match. We start off with Daniel Garcia and Hikaru. Daniel Garcia is rolled up by Hikaru, but kick out at 2. Garcia tries to take down the big luchador but is dropped with a spinning elbow and then a rising knee strike. Takeshita is tagging. Garcia quickly then tags in Adam Cole, who connects with a big right hand on Takeshita, but this is met with a big pump kick by Takeshita. Kyle Riley is tagging. He kicks Takeshita and then tags in Roger Strong, who runs the ropes but is sent down to the top turnbuckle. Lance Archer is tagging. Kyle Riley is tagging. Lance Archer stands down Roger Strong, but Kyle Riley kicks Lance Archer, who fires back, cleaning the Paragon from the apron. So we go to commercial break. Back from the break, Josh Alexander and Kyle Riley take each other down. Daniel Garcia and Takeshita are back in the ring. Both men run the ropes as Daniel Garcia hits on Takeshita with a huge lariat. Daniel Garcia hits Takeshita with a big right. Daniel Garcia picks up Takeshita and suplexes him. Then hits him with a twisted choke like move. Daniel Garcia recovers Takeshita for a 2 count. Daniel Garcia applies a dragon tamer as Takeshita can crawl and make the tag to Josh Alexander. Kyle Riley is tagging. He clears the ring and except for Josh Alexander. Roderick Strong connects with a gut buster on Josh Alexander. All 8 men are in the ring as their face applies their submission holds on the Don Callis family. Lance Archer runs runs at Kyle Riley as he double team and sent to the floor. RPG Vice try to interfere, but it's sent to the floor. Josh Alexander nails Kyle Roger Strong with a big forearm, and then they drop with a German suplex to get the win. All right. The winner by pinfall, Don Collins family, Hagro, Kanushka Dakeshka, Josh Alexander, and Lance Archer. Another dumb 8-man tag carbon copy main event was I watching Firefest or Summer Blockbuster. What a waste. Yeah, this main event match was trash. Then AEW Dynamite goes off the air. All right, let me give my honest opinion what I think about AEW Dynamite. Now AEW Dynamite, the first hour was a good show for what it was, and then AEW Collision was just a solid show for what it was. So anyway, if you guys enjoy my AEW Dynamite review on highlights, I want you guys please I want you guys to please watch the video from all the way from the beginning and all the way towards the end. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content that I do on the channel where I give you guys the full breakdown of my review and after my review. Follow my social media down below in the description and go check out my WWE NXT review on highlights that I do on the channel. What I did the channel last night because I gave that show a good show and I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. Alright, but anyway, tomorrow I will go live on Twitch for some retro gaming at 3 o'clock a.m. So make sure you guys be there. Come to my live stream on Twitch at 3 o'clock a.m. so I can play some more retro games so I can get some more clips. And help me get to affiliate as well too. Cause I'm so close. But anyway, I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang.